Hello and welcome into the PHNX Cardinals podcast presented to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app, and official sports betting partner of the National Football League. I'm Johnny Venerable, joined as always today, Bo Brack, looking tan, in studio, fresh from Cards Camp. Hey, this is like Christmas morning, my friend. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray, content. Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? I mean, you have to be pumped that your young quarterback is asserting himself unlike we've ever seen. Calling an impromptu press conference, just showing up after we talked to Kliff Kingsbury. Here's a little gift, as you mentioned, and Kyler Murray coming and defending himself against everybody talking all this mess about what that independent study clause meant. What did it what did it confirm in your thoughts about Kyler Murray and his work ethic and his study habits? I really enjoyed seeing Kyler Murray go back up there to take the podium and clap back today.
Today, I'm talking today because, I feel it's necessary, with what's going on as far as regarding me and the things that are being said about me. It's almost, to think that I can accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my career and not be a student of the game and not have that passion and not take this serious is almost, it's disrespectful, and it's almost a joke, It's, to me, it's I'm flattered. I'm honestly flattered that y'all think that at my size I can go out there and not prepare for the game and not not take it serious. It's disrespectful, I feel like, to my peers, to all the great athletes and great players that are in this league. This game's too hard. To play the position that I play in this league, it's too hard. And I don't do this often. I don't talk about myself, but today I feel like I have to.
Pretty candid comments from Kyler Murray, just about as candid as we've ever seen him. I want to quickly shout out Sean Marks in the chat. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Makes some good Hard Knocks drama. It's like Hard Knocks started already. Bo, that I thought he was going to get emotional there for a second when he paused, but then I loved the line as it related to, if you think I'm just kind of winging this, and then I've had the success that I have, that's disrespectful to the other players I play with.
Sure.
Or I compete against the rest of the NFL. What was the temperature in the room? So supposedly it was Antoine Wesley was supposed to speak, and I love A Twizzle as much as anybody else. He gets bumped, right? It's like you're a stand-up comic and Jerry Seinfeld shows up or Dave Chappelle shows up, and you get bumped from the room. And here comes Kyler Murray. What was the atmosphere like?
Right. No, yeah. I mean, it's you're a club comic, right? And then Dave Chappelle walks to the door and then just kills for an hour, and then you're supposed to. Then it's like, oh no, now you can go. It's like now the mic is yours. The entire room was still sending out tweets and trying to comprehend what they just witnessed from Kyler Murray as far as trying to relay the information, because he just wasn't supposed to speak today. It was going to be Kliff Kingsbury, who speaks every day after practice, and then J.J. Watt and Antoine Wesley. And poor Antoine Wesley, I mean, to follow that, it's a tough follow. I don't care who you are. I mean, J.J. Watt would have had a tough time following that. J.J. Watt killed earlier in the press conference room at Arizona Cardinals State Farm Stadium. But, like I said, as far as asserting himself, going out there, trying to get in front of this narrative that he doesn't study, that he doesn't watch film, I think that was important for Kyler Murray. I mean, a guy who just doesn't, from what we've gathered, doesn't like to talk in front of people, doesn't like to be, in front of the media answering questions. And, he said he didn't initially want to answer questions about the addendum, but, they kind of forced his hand and he played along and he answered questions after he made his about 4-minute statement. But look, I mean, we're sitting there, we talked to J.J. Watt, Kliff Kingsbury comes in. We're expecting Antoine Wesley and Kyler Murray. This is not a knock on his size. I didn't even see him sneak into the room. I mean, he just appeared at the podium. And then everybody just kind of,
I can relate to that.
Everybody, I'm sure you can.
Into places undetected, right? It's
everybody had to pivot their line of questioning, but everybody shut up. They're like, this is unprecedented. I mean, this is something we haven't seen before. We're going to listen to Kyler and hear him out because I think it benefits everybody to be able to relay what he wants to say, especially with how crazy and trending this story's been. But for him to get out there and also, like, all the different legs it had to it, in all the different parts he pointed to. It's like a crazy conspiracy theory. It's like you can find all these reasons not to believe what the truth is, that Kyler Murray is like any quarterback in the NFL. He puts in the work. He works out in the offseason. He gets in the film room, whether it's at his house or whether it's at the facility, watches film, studies just like any quarterback. And you can find like these reports. You can find all these things that maybe might be considered mudslinging about trying to knock down Kyler Murray's character. But at the end of the day, it's as simple as he watches film. Like, he's just like any other quarterback. And it was pretty absurd that he had to defend his name here 2 days in the Cardinals training camp.
Well, and I think most of the reception on Twitter has been very positive as it relates to Kyler, the national media. This will get picked up. This will be talking points. It happens so late in the day that I feel like it'll get run with a lot on a lot of the morning programs tomorrow, and people will begin to digest this whole thing continually. But I do think that a point could be made that while he was pretty animated toward the media, and I don't think pushing back to the people in the room, but Bo, do you believe that a lot of his frustrations are maybe pointed at the wrong people? Because this is a clause that was put into his contract that is universally unheard of, from everything that we can tell from people who study professional contracts, who worked as scouts and GMs and agents. This is something that's not normal. So I guess my question would be, and it can be hyperbole, it can be hypothetical, whatever, to the Cardinals. Is Kyler frustrated with you, or who is he frustrated with? Because clearly you don't put this in there. Nobody questions Kyler Murray's work ethic, but they put it in there. It becomes public content, public, available for consumption.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler's upset that he's getting some heat. Maybe Kyler didn't comprehend or didn't understand with he and Eric Burkhart, because they knew this language was in there, Purdy and Rappaport. Like, maybe they didn't expect this to blow back as much as it has. Do they feel like this is going to be the norm going forward, these kind of clauses? Because again, like, if Kyler's going to be mad at anybody, it's maybe himself for agreeing this, but number two, it's like for the Cardinals for proposing this, right?
I mean, yeah, to add context to it, I mean, who we did it yesterday about who Michael Bidwell is, the Arizona Cardinals owner, and
Right.
he might approach contracts, especially of this size, the largest in franchise history, a little bit different than the other 31 owners. He's going to be meticulous. He's going to be very detail oriented, because he's making an investment that his organization has never made before. He's got the attorney background. He's going to be a guy that knows how to play in these sandboxes and how you can truly cover your ass. And the Arizona Cardinals wanted this clause. I'm sure there was conversation about this during negotiations with Eric Burkhart and Kyler Murray's representation. Kyler Murray probably knew about it. Did they think it was going to blow up? Probably not. And do you say that's ignorant on their part? I don't know. I mean, you just don't know what's going to leak out. I mean, there's a good chance, right? But this day and age, nothing is safe. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is sacred. And everything's usually going to become public knowledge. It's inevitable with most things.
We talked about it yesterday, and I think the day before that is we're all in unknown territory. The Cardinals are in unknown territory. They have never done an extension like this before with any player. They've never had a quarterback like this that's going to command this kind of attention and money. And I think everybody's made some mistakes here. I think Kyler's made some mistakes. Michael Bidwell, the Cardinals probably would redo some things now in hindsight. And that doesn't mean the relationship's tarnished forever. That doesn't mean the Cardinals still can't make the playoffs this year. I just think in the grand scheme of things, like, hey guys, we probably would change some things up about how we maybe handle this offseason and going through the last 6 months.
Here's what I'll say about the offseason, especially from February to signing the dotted line. It was a negotiation, and those aren't usually fun. They just aren't. Right. There's just mudslinging from both
from
sides.
A financial perspective, I get that. Like, if you're telling me my worth, that can get dicey. But this is even beyond that. This is not about the $230 million.
Sure. Well, I mean, what really got strange about this whole situation is that it came post-contract signing, like post-press conference,
we were supposed to be done.
Everybody was holding hands and singing "Kumbaya" together. Let's look towards the future together, all of us. were all signed to contract extensions, and that didn't happen. That's the strange part. Even like the soap opera that was Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay seemed to just like everything was in the past.
Yeah.
Once he reached that extension, everything was just water under the bridge, and this was just like, when he signs the deal on Thursday, press conference on Friday, Monday this addendum comes out via Ian Rappaport, and it's just like, holy shit, we just lit the thing back on fire. And then Kyler comes out to the defense of him, his organization, and now I think that this was truly the period on this whole kind of part of the offseason, and now we can move forward to the regular season. I see somebody in the super chat there, Cardinals Sen joining us. I hope this lights a fire under his ass. Watch him put up a 50 burger against Kansas City now. Just kidding. Prove me wrong, Kyler. Come on, man. So we had some more from Kyler Murray's press conference today. It's a little impromptu press conference. Leah, just let's start playing the clips that we haven't talked about just yet.
To let my work ethic, my preparation be in question. I've put an incomprehensible amount of time and blood, sweat, tears, and work into what I do, whether it's football or baseball. People can't even comprehend the amount of time that it takes to do two sports at a high level in college. Let alone do it. Be the first person to do it ever at my size. It's like I said, this is. It's funny, but to those of you out there that believe that I'd be standing here today in front of y'all without having a work ethic and without preparing, I'm honored that you think that, but it doesn't exist. It's not possible. It's not possible. So that's all I have on that.
I would agree with that. I think you and I have been on that page since the start of this. You can't be like Jamarcus Russell had all the physical talent in the world, did not care, did not put in the effort, and was a complete and utter disaster. Like Kyler Murray cannot just walk into the NFL, make this team that was the worst team competitive, relevant to the playoffs, and not put in the time and the work. But again, like you've raised expectations anytime you get paid. I think it goes back to everybody probably would redo some things if in hindsight now, certainly that it's public opinion. The court of public opinion has not been kind to Kyler Murray this offseason. And I agree with Cardinal Sin. Again, thank you for the super chat, 509. I think we're going to get the best version of Kyler Murray. I don't know how, and we talked about this yesterday, Bo, I don't know how you get arrows slung at you for the better part of 6 months about your leadership, your character, who you are as a human being. I mean, like, listen, Deshaun Watson and everything that's going on in Cleveland, right? Like his character's been assassinated, but like it's quiet in Cleveland right now. But the Cardinals can't stay out of the news cycle, and it's for anything unrelated really to the on-the-field product on Sunday. And so I do believe we will see a motivated Kyler Murray to the likes that we have not seen before. It's cliche to say, and people on Twitter are already kind of floating this out there. But man, oh man, I do think he will want to spike those. He will watch more film than he's ever watched. He will study harder than he's ever watched. And usually that doesn't happen when you if you do your chores, you get your allowance after the fact, right? It's not, you get your allowance first and then mom and dad say, yeah, go do your chores. Well, you might half-ass them then. I think this is going to have the reverse effect. I do think Kyler Murray cares about public perception. He is a prideful person. He comes from a prideful family. He brought up multiple times, only in this presser, Bo, but in his press conference for his contract extension, his size. He hears all of that noise. I mean, it's just one chip after another. And who knows, maybe this is all going to end up working out for the Cardinals in the long run.
But this has to be the last unscheduled press conference for Kyler Murray. As much as I want to hear from him, I'd love to hear more from Kyler Murray. I mean, who doesn't want to hear and have the franchise quarterback up there fielding questions? But this has to be the last one. Like this can't be, a once a week, once a month thing where you're going to come out from the clouds, the top rope, and then try to come down and body slam everybody. You can't, like at some point you need to develop a little bit of some gator skin and start, just kind of let a lot of the criticisms just bounce off you. Like now you've made $230.5 million. You've said your piece now. And now you got to let your actions speak a little bit louder once you take the field. Like between now and week 1, we shouldn't have any more impromptu press conferences. And I don't think we will. But I really do think it was important for him to get up there, especially with like so many. I mean, people just took this storyline and ran with it and went ridiculous directions with it, just because, and especially on a national level, people who don't follow this team every day see how hard everybody in the Cardinals building work. What they have pretty much is the last time they saw this team, and it was a debacle. It was the worst day of 2022. It was in 2023, but of that season, and that's what they remember. And they just make a kind of a quick, punching bag of them.
I do have to put on my conspiracy theory hat for just a hot minute.
Boy.
So our guy Frank Sanders called me today, or asked me to call him, I should say, around lunchtime today, because he pitched to me a theory I had not heard yet. And I love Frank and his outlandish theories, but tell me if you've heard this, Bo. You think this has any legs to it? So he thinks that this is all a farce by the Cardinals, Michael Bidwell, Eric Burkhart, in the sense that could the Cardinals be tying a bunch of non-guarantees to lay up things that they know Kyler will complete? They know he'll complete his studies. They know he'll show up in the offseason. So they don't have to fork over more money up front as a guarantee because of what Deshaun Watson did to skew the market. Thus, Michael Bidwell, the Cardinals don't have to put all that money in escrow. So what Frank is suggesting is they feel like Kyler is going to do everything they ask of him, but they told Kyler, we're going to give you extra money. It's just going to be hidden in study time. And that Frank thinks there's a possibility with these quarterback extensions, agents and the team could hide, mix and match some bonuses. No, it's for real. And I'm like, that's an interesting theory. I hadn't heard that before.
No, I like Sly's 4D chess. Yeah, I mean, that's right. What the Cardinals are playing. My God.
Frank's on it, man. He's got his tuna for lunch, probably just the brain food going.
Tuna for lunch. He had a whole bag of OGs with that theory. My God. What the hell? Hey, I don't think it's crazy. I actually don't think it's that outlandish, and especially for a guy Speedo Jackson, aka Frank Sanders. I don't know, man. I think it's a little bit more cut and dry. This is probably the work of a guy, in Michael Bidwell, really just trying to cover his butt, and it was a backfire. It was, as far as this getting leaked and this becoming a story in a moment that should be celebrated, where they ink their franchise quarterback to that type of money, lock him in until 2028.
So Kyler criticism has run rampant, and we love fan interaction on this show. It's the number one thing we look forward to, and we had a question posed on Twitter today. Please talk about this. So here we're going to do it. Daniel Roberts at DRoberts639 on Twitter. He said, I wonder why Kyler, Offensive Rookie of the Year and two-time Pro Bowler in just 3 years, gets more criticism, Bo, than busted flushes like Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones. It's a great question. My initial response would be, I think Baker Mayfield gets criticized a good amount. I think Daniel Jones, people have probably already given up, so it's not even a quality talking point. But there is a perception, and I remember when Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones both completed their first year, people were buying Daniel Jones because of, I think, his background. He had worked with David Cutcliffe and his ties to the Manning family. But Kyler Murray's an easy target. Now, sometimes he makes it easy for them, right? But I think he's an easy target, undersized, introvert, doesn't win the press conference until today, right? And those guys can be, I don't know, more stereotypical, what we've been neutered to enjoy from the quarterback position, or accept, I should say.
It's crazy with Daniel Jones, but he's been so bad, and the Giants have been so bad that nationally they're just irrelevant.
Yeah, you just don't hear about him.
Yeah, that's probably the case. I'm sure he's just New York, talk radio. He's probably just a punching bag. But as far as, Baker Mayfield, he's got all the commercials and stuff. I think there was people just saw with Baker that especially at the end of the last season, like he was a guy that just couldn't even compete. And with Kyler, he's become more polarizing just because of the success that he's had. Like, you sometimes become a product of your own success to where, people, like, there's nobody's, sometimes, like, people aren't going to be indifferent on you. They're either going to love you or they're going to hate you. And with that much success that Kyler Murray's had, there's going to be a lot of polarizing takes about him.
We appreciate you, Jose. Johnny and Bo bring us the Cardinals. We do every day here at 4 p.m. Let's support by doing our part. Hey, I thank you for doing that. That way I can remind everybody simultaneously. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the podcast. I checked before the show, Bo. Kyler Murray MVP odds did not go up with this press conference, which I think is a farce. We love our folks at DraftKings. Kyler Murray plus 2,000 right now to take home league MVP. And I want to remind everybody right now, you can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use that promo code PHNX, make your first deposit, get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
We had a blast yesterday out at Four Peaks. We did our live show, wrapping up the Arizona Cardinals' first day of training camp. It was awesome. We had some fantastic adult beverages, some great beers that they have on tap there at Four Peaks. Of course, what they're known for. You got the Kilt Lifter behind my head here. Johnny and I, our personal faves is the Wow Joy Bus Wheat. Fantastic beer. It also goes back to a great cause, great charity there. Four Peaks, they bring in as far as the beer, they bring in as far as the food and the environment. There's nothing like it out there on H Street in Tempe. We love being partnered with Four Peaks, and we announced our first Toast of the Month winner, Gabriel, yesterday. Congratulations to Gabriel. Won the sweepstakes there and got a free swag bag from us in Four Peaks. You want to be the next Toast of the Month sweepstakes winner? Just go to gophnx.com and click the link in the show notes as well. You can find that there to get to the Four Peaks Toast of the Month sweepstakes. Of course, with Four Peaks, the great, delicious beer, you must be 21 or older to enjoy responsibly.
Antwaun Woods is an Arizona Cardinal. We have to address this semi-breaking news. Arizona Cardinals signed defensive tackle Antwaun Woods right as the show kicks off. So here's Steve Kimbo throwing us a bone, albeit maybe a camp body, defensive line depth, 6'1", 220. He is a 29-year-old out of 320, excuse me, out of USC. Played a little bit last year with Indy. Didn't start a couple years before that. He had, started a decent amount of games for the Dallas Cowboys. He's a rotational defensive tackle, nose tackle in the form of just kind of a run preventer. And my guess is if he makes the team, maybe serves as that Corey Peters role, assuming Rashad Lawrence or Lecky Fotu can't do it. But I would imagine his contract is going to be probably close to league minimum at this point.
Kingsley, Kiki, and this still leaves a lot left in the salary cap bank for the Arizona Cardinals to spend between now and the start of the season. So kind of lost in today's shuffle. We talked to Kliff Kingsbury, we talked to JJ Watt, and Kliff Kingsbury actually had talked about this team adding to its roster between now and the start of the regular season.
I think so. I think we're going to continue to work with the group we have and then see what's out there. There's some really good players still out there trying to find homes, and we'll be in that market, definitely.
Now, he was specifically asked, Johnny, about adding a veteran cornerback, and that was his answer. He thinks so, and they like the group, and a guy who flashed today at practice was Josh Jackson, the former second-round pick out of Iowa. I can say this because it was in the closed portion of practice, but Kliff mentioned he had a pick 6 off of Kyler Murray during 7-on-7 drills, took it back to the house. It was a pass intended for a 4-letter word around here, Andy Isabella, but Josh Jackson went all the way to the end zone. It was encouraging to see, but they like who they have, but it seems like it's inevitable that they add a vet. Any idea who that could be?
I can tell you, I don't think it's going to be Robert Alford, and here's why. So I did a little investigatory work, detective work on Twitter today, and I said, "What's Robert Alford doing?" Oh, I looked at his likes, and somebody tweeted out, "QBs that don't watch film. What part of the game is that? Hashtag ridiculous." And Robert Alford liked that tweet. So I would maybe sense that is Robert Alford probably his days with the Cardinals are down. Where's the love for Kyler Murray, Robert?
I don't know. Maybe he's just bitter that he felt like some of that $230.5 million that went to Kyler should have gone to him re-signing with the organization.
We love Robert. Hey, Robert, remember when you didn't play for 2 years and you got like $1 bajillion to be in the training room? Come on now.
Kliff Kingsbury also gave us insight on why DJ Humphries has been sidelined for the last 2 days, and DeAndre Hopkins was a non-participant in practice today. Let's hear from Kliff.
Yeah, he was sick today, so we'll try to get him back out there here. I'm hoping, if not the end of this week, next week.
DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre, just a vet day. Yeah, we're going to be smart. Like I said, he's going to be on a different plan than everybody else. He's not starting his season until later on.
So no DeAndre Hopkins today. JJ Watt told us that he's not going to participate tomorrow. So when you don't see number 99 out there on the field, and I tweeted out, don't freak out. He's got a vet day off, but DeAndre, he's going to operate on a different schedule than his receiver teammates and his veteran teammates. He got the day off day 2. And let's not, we can stop the hold in nonsense talk.
Hang on. That was still hot on Twitter today that
Was it?
He's sick. He's not feeling well. He's holding in. Listen, look at some of the players that are holding in around the league. Derwin James, Deebo Samuel, right? I love DJ Humphries. He's the highest paid Cardinal this year, $20 million. I know he's not extended past this year, but if that's happening, then that's laughable. And I love DJ. That's a joke.
Happening. That ain't happening.
He must bad Thai food or something. Because if he had COVID, he wouldn't be there.
No, he wouldn't. So yeah, he's been there. Like, we didn't see D Hop today. We didn't even see, like, we saw Hollywood Brown yesterday. He wasn't out there. DJ Humphries has been out there. Kind of interesting. Like, he's been sick. So yeah, maybe it is something that they don't think is contagious. So he's out there wearing a hoodie, still wearing his jersey, but not participating. I really don't think it's a hold-in situation with DJ Humphries. But
that would be kind of hilarious. Like, we're at the point now where we get past this Kyler Murray thing, and somebody like DJ Humphries, who was not good last year, he's getting paid $20 million, he's holding in. I'm anxious to see Josh Jones, what he does, because he is a gifted tackle. He is a tackle. They tried to play him at guard last year. He doesn't have the power or the burst, right? He doesn't have the strength. He is I don't want to call him a finesse tackle, but he's fantastic in pass pro. He looked great at right tackle when they let him do that last year against the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm sure the Cardinals feel like, yeah, we've got somebody who I think Josh Jones would start a tackle for a lot of teams. Our friends at CHGO, good hell, their tackle situation with the Chicago Bears. To me, Josh Jones is, Bo, going to have a long-term plan with this team that involves him starting sooner rather than later. So why not get a look at him now and then maybe save yourself some money and let DJ Humphries walk after this year?
Yeah, it's not a bad plan. I mean, you do want him to continue to develop. You liked what you saw early last season. You didn't like what you saw at the end of last season. One of the most penalized offensive linemen in the game, especially at the tackle position, or couldn't play guard. So he loses what they perceived as versatility. So he's going to be a guy that's going to play tackle. So you hope that he can, survive at tackle and be a guy that can potentially step in. Yeah, maybe be the DJ Humphries successor if you need him to be, or, Calvin Beacham's successor, one of those bookends to that offensive line. But, you see Will Hernandez out there, and that's encouraging. I mean, everybody, Zach Ertz, what do you call it on the opening of training camp? Pick up basketball, pretty much, when you're out there. So you can't really tell much, especially with the big hog mollies up front. But the continuity that I think you're getting from the offensive line, especially returning Rodney Hudson for a second season, it's an interesting group. You can never have enough. The fact that Josh Jones is potentially waiting in the wings and is ready to step in at either tackle position is encouraging for Cardinals fans.
Yeah, once upon a time, this team would be starting by midseason 7th round rookies at tackle, and now they've really got a nice contingency plan. Josh Jones, at worst, if all he ever becomes is a swing tackle, it's a good place to be because everybody else is healthy. Was Connor out there? He was cool. We're good. Well, Bo, you had initially sent me a text message that Connor got a little dinged up, came back. The next play was fine. So sigh of relief there. I do want to highlight this. Cardinal Sin, who's going to training camp Saturday. Bo and I will both be there. So if you see us, come say what's up. Let's talk. We're going to try to do some fun stuff with any fans that want to hang out on top of just watching practice and watching some ball. We're really looking forward to that. I know the Cardinals do a phenomenal job with their open practices. It's an environment, if you've never been, I've taken my son before. It's his first experience with the NFL. Michael Bidwell, they definitely do that right. I think people free parking, right? Everything's free but the food. Which you can't beat it, right? Go get a hot dog. I want to ask you this because everybody wants to be speculatory about potential free agent signings. I've given up at this point. Carlos Dunlap, a player I really liked, somebody that played in the NFC West with Seattle, signed with Kansas City this morning. So we'll see him week 1, just not the way we want. Where should the Cardinals allocate? They've got almost $11 million remaining. I am not as concerned about the secondary as I know maybe a lot of other people are. I would rather see them continue to beef up a pass rush that still doesn't have Chandler Jones. So what would you do right now if you had to make one addition for this team.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I saw Devon Kennard and he was talking shop with one of his teammates. And I'm like, man, is Kennard be a guy that can contribute to this team? I don't know. I'm not gonna get on that hype train yet. I'm not a big believer that Devon Kennard's going to turn the corner in his third season as an Arizona Cardinal. But you look at the pass rushers opposite Marcus Golden. And it really looks like J.J. Watt's going to play inside for this defense. So is it going to be the 2 third-round picks? Is it Cameron Thomas? Is it Myjai Sanders? Is it Dennis Gardeck? It's a crowded room. You're going to add another guy. Is there even enough reps and practice and in preseason games to really get a good look of who can really, contribute and bolster that pass rush? I think that's tough to see. And like, how can you tell the difference? Like, is there a guy out there? I mean, we saw Carlos Dunlap, signed today.
Yeah. $8 million.
Quan Alexander is the D Ford, who's got a horrible injury history, is available.
Now let's talk about D Ford for
Okay.
a second. Let's take a hot minute because when he was traded to San Francisco, he got a contract extension. They gave up, I think, at least 1 second-round pick, maybe 2 to get him. Paired him with Nick Bosa after they drafted Bosa, and he helped orchestrate Super Bowl run. Nick D Ford jumping off sides, the AFC Championship game, very productive in Kansas City. Here's what I will say. I think D Ford, I have no idea if they have any interest. They saw him in the division. I think he projects as something exactly what the Arizona Cardinals need, and that's a specialist, pass rushing specialist on third down and third down alone. He could come here. You could tell him, come here on a snap count, pitch count-esque kind of deal, 1-year flyer. You can come here and play opposite Marcus Golden on third down. And Devon Kennard and maybe Isaiah Simmons and J.J. Watt can play outside linebacker on first and second down. Who knows? One of the rookies. But I think D Ford could come here and have a productive, specialized role. Now, are you going to get him, playing what Chandler did last year, 90+% of the snaps? No. But to me, I just can't fathom that they're going to go into the season, as you said, Bo. Devon Kennard, he got cut. And he's back making no money. So he's doing the Robert Alford thing, which is fine because we knew when Robert Alford was healthy, he could play. It was always a question of health. Devon Kennard's been healthy. Devon Kennard, his first year with the Cardinals, he wasn't getting it done. That's why they had to trade for Marcus Golden. And then last year, I watched him against a pivotal game, and I go back to this, and I hate to continue to dog on this play. The Alex Collins play for the Seattle Seahawks, when he hits that 60-yarder to ice that game that loses the Cardinals the division title, Devon Kennard has a free shot at him, and he's unblocked, and he can't make the tackle. So he's not good at run defense, and he can't rush the passer, but he's one of those savvy vets that, Vance Joseph just can't quit, where he knows the plays. He's in position to make a play, Bo, but, talent is talent, right? And I think they lack some talent at outside linebacker.
They do. And look, D Ford, his biggest problem is staying on the field. And when he's been on the field, even in short spurts, 6 games last year, 3 sacks, production.
Yeah.
He gets on the field for 11 games in 2019. He gets 6.5 sacks. And then he starts, when he played a full 16 games, Kansas City, 13 sacks. He's a guy that knows he's got all the bag of tricks. He knows all the angles. He would be a great guy in a rotational role. Low risk, you're not paying him a ton of money. He would fit that time Jonathan Abraham type signing. Dwight Freeney, sure. Just come in.
Freeney literally played on third down and third down alone.
Yeah.
And
it's a different defense. It's Todd Bowles versus Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph loves the pressure downs first and second down, create, negative plays. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Put him in there. He's not a full-time player. He's not a 3-down player. Don't have that expectation, because if you do, you're going to be disappointed.
It's like your lefty specialist in baseball. It's like the guy who throws submarine, right? Just bring him in for one batter, bring him in the fourth quarter to knock the shit out of Trey Lance on third down to ice the game. Cardinals don't have enough players that can do that. We had enough people getting it done, though, here at PHNX. We're kicking ass, taking names every day. Check out GoPHNX.com for the latest. Bo, my content as it relates to training camp. What's going on? What the hell's going on with the Phoenix Suns? Kevin Durant, will he or won't he come here? Gerald Bourguet doing a phenomenal job. Written content continually coming from GoPHNX.com. Become a member, 99 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent month. Or if you become a member for the entire year, Bo Brack, just under $60, you get a free t-shirt. I think I saw from somebody in the chat, they just scooped up their first t-shirt. We appreciate that. Sorry, I missed the comment. These are premium tees. Check them out. PHNX Merchandise Locker. Bo and I have been racking our brains trying to come up with a new t-shirt concept to kick off 2022. You guys will be the first to know when that goes down. We can all get it together, sport it with pride. I've already seen, and it's great. Warms my heart, Bo, when I see all the PHNX gear across the valley, and we love the engagement. So thanks everybody so much.
I had the tough conversation with myself. Great shirts, right? But I had the tough conversation with myself. I was just looking at you said, you're a size up now. You're sizing up. You've hit the next level of.
Can you share? Are you going to share it with us, or what's going on?
As far as what size I am? Yeah, I'm going from a large to an XL.
Wow,
I got that X now,
dude. You're a large guy though. You're tall.
Come on, Johnny.
It's just
I'm looking for support here.
I am. You're a tall guy. You've grown a couple inches since I've known you.
Yeah, wider.
Oh, I know. I can't see that.
These are fantastic shirts, though. I needed to level up, and I'm going to. And it's a comfortable shirt. It's sleek. It makes me feel athletic. I'm not. I like it. I love my.
You're athletic to me. Bo
you.
and I can seem athletic when Damian and Frank Sanders are not on the podcast. Daniel Machado, Johnny can't wait for Kyler to go to Minnesota and kick ass so we can talk all the crap to the Viking Kyler haters. Are there a lot of Viking Kyler haters after what Kyler Murray did and disrobed Mike Zimmer and company last year at State Farm Stadium? Patrick Peterson, poor Patrick, trying to run with Rondale Moore. I'm with you, though. I can't wait to kick everybody's ass this fall. I think, Bo Brack, we're going to get mercenary Kyler Murray this year.
Yeah, we should. I did like the assertiveness. I like the motivated Kyler Murray. It's a scary, sign for opposing defenses and defensive coordinators, especially with a plethora of playmakers that he has. I mean, even without Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins to start training camp, if you can get Marquise back up to speed and you couple him with Trey McBride and Zach Ertz, and I tell you what, AJ Green still shows up. I see him.
Don't say that to me.
Yes, AJ Green. Like, I was watching Josh Jackson go up against AJ Green. I'm like, I wonder what that's like for Josh Jackson facing this guy who's 6'4", still has great speed, and AJ Green, and he's running a route right at full speed against him. Like, that's got to be, he's a future Hall of Famer potentially, isn't he? I mean, AJ Green.
But he's also 33 years old, 34 years old. I want nothing more to be wrong about AJ Green. I did not like the re-signing. I liked it more after they added Hollywood Brown. I thought they were just going to run it back with the same receiving core minus Christian Kirk, maybe a mid-round draft pick. So I'm thankful that when we talk about the receiving core, he is a complimentary option this year, because I have nightmares about that Rams playoff game. And this team was relying on AJ Green and Christian Kirk to get it done. And they were non-existent for Kyler Murray. You look at the advanced stats for that game. I don't mean to get too analytical here, but those guys could not separate. You remember the deep ball Christian Kirk wouldn't lay out for. I want Hopkins and new blood at the receiver. I want a Rondale Moore role expanded. Hollywood Brown, love me some Hollywood Brown. Trey McBride, split him out to the X, mismatch for smaller corners and safeties. So I like AJ Green enough. He's got a role. I'll go put the first 6 to 8 games on last year. He's great. He was great. And then
what do they need him for? The first 6 games. So when I was watching them line up the first team offense today, it was, AJ Green was out there in his, his familiar Z role, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Antoine Wesley in the X role today that he was in at the end of the last season. There, like I said, there's no Hollywood Brown to start right now. Rondale Moore was in the slot, looked great early on. And then you had, of course, Zach Ertz in his tight end position, and the offensive line was Rodney Hudson. You had the Josh Jones at left tackle. You had Beachum at right tackle, Will Hernandez in there, and Justin Pugh. It looked good. And then, of course, James Conner in the backfield.
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt. Everybody I talk to about this team that's not close to this team, like you and I are, that follow this team, ask what their calling card is going to be this year. They are going to be an offensive dominated football. I appreciate the efforts they've gone to bring in new, young, exciting talent like a McBride, like a Brown, right? Re-upping Zach Ertz and James Conner, who were integral in their success last year. I'm okay. That's why I'm not like, the defense is what it is, right? We talk about a
Where are you with Zach Ertz? Are we sleeping on Zach Ertz?
I'm not. No.
I'm not. This isn't an indictment on you. I'm asking. So, like, I think this isn't something we didn't get to talk about when he spoke to the media a couple days ago. And the storyline throughout the offseason is his workout partner was J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz said now I know everybody says this. He's in the best shape of his life, but I mean, with the Arizona Cardinals trainer, who's a Hall of Famer, and you've got J.J. Watt. I mean, Zach Ertz at his age. I mean, normally it's a downslope for tight ends, but I think he could legitimately have an incredible year for the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, so I'm going to do some math here, and it's not my specialty, my forte, but Zach Ertz played 11 games for the Cardinals last year.
Correct.
He was the most targeted tight end in the NFL in those 11 games. So Kyler Murray couldn't target him enough. He was targeted 81 times. So he had 574 yards in 11 games, 52 yards per game times 17. That's just under 900 yards projected out for the entire season. That's a lot, right? I don't think he's going to hit that mark because I do think Trey McBride will steal some targets, especially as the season goes on. He gets more comfortable in his role. I do think Zach Ertz could top out at about 750. Which good hell is way more than any tight end in modern Cardinal history has ever had. Ertz over 800 yards and 6 TDs. Daniel, I would have said that would probably have been a lock before they drafted Trey McBride. And Bo, you're there at practice.
Still there with Daniel. I'm with those numbers. I think that's
you think so? Even with Trey McBride?
Even with Trey McBride, I think it's just going to be. I mean, Zach Ertz now knows this offense. There's going to be acclamation for a guy like Trey McBride going from the Mountain West to the NFC West, and that's going to be tough. So I think he can. It's going to have to be quality over quantity for McBride. Where Ertz is going to be. I mean, what'd you say? Was he the most targeted?
Yeah, he had 81 targets in 11 games.
So clearly, Kyler and Colt both trust the guy, and it will continue to be kind of their safety valve when their first reads aren't there. I mean,
targets per game when he became an Arizona Cardinal. Listen, I love the re-signing. I love the trade for him. I think that it made so much sense after Max Williams went down. Kudos to Keim for making that move. And I'm not ready to cast him aside because they have this shiny new toy. But I don't know. I also think Hollywood Brown's gonna have 1,300 yards. So Kyler Murray's never passed for 4,000 yards. So you start adding everything up. Hop's going to get his. Rondell, AJ Green, who we just talked about. Like, is Kyler Murray going to throw for 4,600 yards to get these totals? He'd have to.
So if he throws for 4,700 yards, he'd be the franchise single season record holder. Carson Palmer's over 4,600, like 4,671 or something. So Kyler has to average 276. He averaged 270 last year. He had 6 more yards. He's going to hit that number.
The Vegas over-under for him for the season passing yards is under 4,000 yards passing.
Hammer
it's just under that. Yeah. DraftKings, right now, you can go do it. His passing over-under for the season, touchdowns, 25.5. Hammer that. Vegas, man.
Giant sledgehammer. Just crush it.
So I took the over in my homerism is showing. I took the over on damn near everyone. James Conner 9.5 touchdowns, but I don't know. Maybe I need a little bit of OGs to calm me down. But.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the best remedy right there. If you're getting too high, too low, OGs, they're the perfect way to take you out of that, get you right where you need to be, back to neutral. They launched their first ever limited edition seasonal flavor, Pina Colada. It's fantastic. It's the perfect pineapple and creamy coconut blend. You want maybe an orange creamsicle instead? You want to check out one of their other tropical flavors? Do it on their website, ogsbrands.com. That's ogsbrands.com. You can also follow them on Instagram at ogsbrands. Easy follow there. Like our friends over at Four Peaks, you must be 21 years or older to purchase, and you can find them at your local dispensary. If you like to just go in the old-fashioned brick-and-mortar store, check them out at a dispensary and find your favorite OG Brands products. What's Daniel saying, Johnny, when it comes to AZ Pat's game? You're going to hook me up with the Four Peaks and OGs. All right.
Tell you what, Daniel, just come every last Wednesday of every month. We're hanging out at Four Peaks. Thank you, Stocko. My kids don't think I'm a cool dude, but I'm glad you think I'm a cool dude. It's pretty cool getting your COVID-19 vaccine. So we're all going to be hanging out at practice. I don't want to not see anybody because they're sick. So everybody go get your vaccine, get your booster so you can come hang with us. We got so much cool shit planned, not only for preseason, but when the season kicks off, baby, Bo and I are going to be everywhere, right? We're going to be ready and rocking and rolling. We're going to be out at hopefully our own PHNX bar in not too long. And if you're not feeling good, go get your vaccine so you can come out and hang with us. So COVID-19 vaccines, they're free for everybody 5 and older. Those 12 and older are now eligible for a booster shot. So all you got to do is visit, I believe it's azhealth.gov/find vaccine for location near you. Get it done and let's have some fun.
As far as meetups, fan meetups during the game days, I'll be at the stadium when it's home games. Away games, we got a couple. We'll probably go week 2 to Vegas, and then we'll see what happens with the LA games. And we got a couple road games that we're going to be there, but the ones we aren't, we might have to set up something for some meetups.
Well, and even with Bo at the stadium, myself, Frank Sanders, Damian Anderson, the GM Saul Bookman. Last year, if you attended our outings at the Lola, which we're not sure if we'll be back there this year or not. They did a great job putting on just right across the street from the stadium. Even if you have tickets to the game, you can come party with us before the game. We do a live show, walk over to the stadium, hopefully enjoy a Cardinal dub, come back and hang out. So we will let you know. We appreciate the interest. It's great because people can sense it, Bo. They can feel it. We've got football just around the corner. I can tell you right now, PHNX Cardinals will not let you down when it comes to content, both written, audio, video, exclusive content at the stadium, and then having a good time with events and specialty plans. I love it.
So we were I wanted to advance the story from yesterday. You, me, and Frank were talking about the Arizona Super Bowl committee asking for 5,000 volunteers. That they aren't going to pay during when the Super Bowl's here. My guy RJ, who listens to the podcast, said, "Hey, can you send me that link where you can volunteer?" So I already there's a person that's going to volunteer.
$4.99.9 to go.
There you go. We're making some headway. We got a couple months to figure this thing out. So, and speaking of the Super Bowl being at the State Farm Stadium, one last thing before we get out of here. JJ Watt talked about it, that everybody in the Cardinals locker room better be on board with wanting to play a home game for Super Bowl 57.
Who says they don't want to do that? Who said that? Oh, well, there's a difference between saying what you want to do and gloating. I mean, anybody, if anybody comes to you in this press conference and says that they don't want to finish the season in this building on February 14th, text me. You don't have my number, text Mark. Mark will text me. I'm not going to give you my number.
Am I the size of one of JJ Watt's? Also, that doesn't fire you up, JJ Watt. He should just cap every press conference. People run through the wall for that guy. Hell yeah. Super Bowl 14 here in Glendale, Arizona with our Arizona Cardinals. Wouldn't that just be the biggest?
How did you just take us back like 40 years in time? Super Bowl 14?
Super Bowl February 14th. Wouldn't that be the biggest FU for Kyler Murray to his critics? The Cardinals are hosting, playing at home in the Super Bowl after this offseason. Be very fitting.
Valentine's Day. I don't know how that plays in there.
Oh, I don't even. Your first inclination went to there. For our hearts to be broken? No. For our hearts to be filled, young man, Bo Brack. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We're having a great time. The great Frank Sanders returns tomorrow with his tin cap to break down more of Kyler Murray's contract, Bo. And you'll be back out of training camp, will you not?
That's right. They're back on the practice field bright and early tomorrow. As I said, no J.J. Watt. We'll see if DeAndre Hopkins is back out there. Maybe DJ Humphries is feeling better. Hopefully a couple key components to this Cardinals offense are back on the practice field. But tomorrow, and then if we don't talk to you or if you don't join us tomorrow, we'll see you out Saturday as they open up practices to the public. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a party out there. Come and join us. We're going to be out there reporting and give you all the sights and sounds here at PHNX Cardinals.
One last time, smash that like button. Leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe your podcast so you never miss any, just in case. We do some audios here or there. Subscribe, PHNX Cardinals, PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter. For Bo Brack, at Bo Brack, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you manana. Bye, everybody.